รับตัวเองให้เป็นสองหลายสิ่ง
Hello and welcome to Hollywood at Home from Arizona Public Media. I'm Victoria Lucas. Tonight's film is 2011's winner of 5 Oscars, including Best Picture. It's The Artist. This surprising hit is unlike anything you've seen in a long time, maybe ever. It is a silent film shot in black and white with no flashy special effects and starring French actors. I know. But before you reach for the remote, I really encourage you to give The Artist a try. There's a reason it won Best Picture. This is a movie for people who love movies, an energetic, charming tribute to a glamorous silver age that no longer exists in Hollywood. French writer-director Michel Hazanavicius tells the story of an up-and-coming young actress and her relationship with an older silent film star as the silent era is ending to be replaced by the talkies. The director had become well known for his successful French spy parodies starring Jean Dujardin and Bérénice Bejo. So he decided to infuse their chemistry into The Artist as well. Bejo stars as the radiant young ingenue, while Dujardin turns in an Oscar-winning performance as the dashing matinee idol who refuses to move with the times. Penelope Ann Miller plays his long-suffering wife. James Cromwell is his loyal chauffeur, and John Goodman plays a blustering studio executive, all doing their best not to be outshined by Uggie, possibly the best dog actor in the history of the Flickers. As you might imagine, Hazanavicius faced some amusement when he told people the concept for his next film. As he remembered, they laughed. Producers, actors, even friends, they all laughed. They'd say, "Okay, but what do you really want to do?" So, as you might also imagine, major Hollywood studios were less than eager to come aboard, despite the movie being about them. Nobody thought the market would accept a silent movie 75 years after the talkies took over. But Hazanavicius believed in his project, and he kept pushing, finally raising the 13.5 million euro budget from a half dozen French financing companies. This was significant, but the French money didn't solve all his problems. He knew that French actors Bejo and Dujardin would be perfect in the 2 lead roles, but he wanted to shoot in America, in Hollywood, on historic movie locations. That meant that he would need mostly American actors, and that meant he had a major casting job in front of him. He knew lots of European actors, of course, but he had no experience in the US and very few connections. So he hired famed Los Angeles casting director Heidi Levitt, who eagerly took up the challenge. Together, they planned to populate the movie with top-ranked character actors who could play what might be considered stereotypes, but in a believable way. With the wheels of casting in motion, Levitt had to be creative to get the best auditions from actors unfamiliar with silent films or their unique style. First, she taped the actors auditioning normally in scenes that included dialogue as if for a speaking role. Then she played the scenes back for the actors in black and white with the sound turned off. An eye-opening exercise because modern actors are accustomed to using their voices to express emotion. Seeing how their performance would look in a silent film enabled these trained actors to modify their styles and actions just enough to convey the emotion of a scene without the audience hearing their words. With some 50 speaking roles to cast, this was quite an undertaking for Leavitt. But as she said, character actors have been the unsung heroes in movies since movies began. With casting complete, principal photography began in Los Angeles on November 12, 2010, on a relatively short 35-day shooting schedule. Despite their successful auditions, some of the actors remained unsure how to perform in the style of silence while appearing natural. Improvisation was often required because, since we can see their lips move but not hear their actual words, there was no need for the writer-director to create specific dialogue. Instead, he would tell the actors what each scene was about, what their feelings and motivations were, and how the title cards would summarize their words. Then he would work with them to figure out the best way to portray their action and their intent. John Goodman, as you might expect, felt completely comfortable improvising dialogue to fit the situation and his character. But star Jean Dujardin, on the other hand, was not only acting in a silent movie, but he was playing a silent film actor. He felt somewhat intimidated by this unfamiliar process and by his lack of English language skill. So, since dialogue wasn't being recorded, the director often played music on the set, especially pieces by great Hollywood composers like Bernard Herrmann, Elmer Bernstein, and Erich Korngold, to get the actors into the mood and the spirit of a scene. He said, in a way, the lack of recorded sound made it both harder and easier to bring out great performances. One actor who didn't need to worry about moving lips or improvising dialogue was Uggie, the scene-stealing pup who became the breakout star of the 2011 season. Fans even started a Consider Uggie campaign on Facebook, hoping to make the dog eligible for an Oscar nomination. Uggie had been rescued from a shelter by trainer Omar von Mueller, who recognized that rather than being wild and unadoptable, Uggie just needed a job. He was smart, trainable, eager to work, and most important, he wasn't afraid of things. As von Mueller said, that's what makes or breaks a dog in the movies. Uggie can concentrate on the scene and on his cues, even with all the lights, cameras, and people moving around the set. Before production began, Uggie, who would play Jean Dujardin's dog, spent 3 days living with the star so they could get to know one another, form a working bond, and teach the actor the same hand signals and verbal commands that Uggie had learned. And while many stars secretly dislike sharing scenes with animals because they know the audience will watch the animal rather than the actor, Dujardin was not among them. He loved working with dogs, even scene-stealing ones. The Artist was filmed in some of Hollywood's most famous locations: expansive studio backlots and sound stages, grand Spanish-style mansions, elaborate movie palaces, and even in Mary Pickford's former home. All the technical details, including lenses, lighting, and camera movement, were designed to match the look of silent films while maintaining a more modern pace. Penelope Ann Miller, playing Dujardin's wife, had a great time on the set, saying later, "I loved those old films. I wanted to be part of that experience. I wanted to be those people." In fact, Everyone in the cast and crew shared her feelings, and it showed. In addition to the Best Picture and Best Actor Oscars, The Artist also won for Best Director, Costume Design, and Musical Score. Plus, it received nominations for Best Supporting Actress, Art Direction, Screenplay, Cinematography, and Editing. This is not your grandparents' silent movie. So please sit back and enjoy this uplifting story about friendship, loyalty, and the enduring power of the movies. From 2011, it's The Artist.